Do you ever find yourself overwhelmed with a barrage of just all kind of random emails and you don't know which ones to start with, which ones were important, and which could be missed opportunities? Well, I call that email inbox overwhelm. And in this video, we're going to tell you and walk through a process that I'm creating for a client and, in all honesty, also for myself to help remove this email overwhelm. And we're going to do this by creating an automated inbox management system. And so what I'm going to do is by the end of this video, I'm going to walk you through our thought process, our thought pattern, so that we can start actually planning and implementing this inside of a business. And so I'm just actually going to hop right in. And so the first thing I do when I think about any type of automation or email or problem that we're trying to solve, the first thing that you have to do is, number one, you have to clearly define the problem and the pain points. The second thing that we're going to do is we're going to clearly define the desired outcome. And then number three is we're going to define the triggers and the actions. So these are two words that you want to actually learn, because defining a trigger and defining an action is a very integral part of creating any type of automation workflow. Even if it's just a standard SOP that you're handing off to a human, you still need to know a trigger, and then you still need to know the actions that are taken. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to dive right into number one. We're going to look at the pain points. And so what I did was I came through and very quickly just kind of brainstormed some pain points with the use of Claude, right? And some of the pain points are this: way too many emails, right? The inbox is always flooded with customer questions, supplier updates, staff issues piling up, and just really all different kinds of communications. And each message, if you miss it, it could mean missed money or problems, and it's just really exhausting to try to keep up with throughout the day. I had another video where they said there was a statistic that said that a business owner touches their phone up to 144 times a day, and of those 144 times a day, just imagine if a portion of those are checking your emails, right? You're constantly getting pulled away, right? And if you feel like maybe you're having to check these notifications as you're doing things, it pulls you away from your focus. The other pain point is that you can't tell what's really important because you're getting a barrage of them. So it's hard to figure out which emails need attention and which ones can wait a little bit. Which ones are important customer message, right? Because it can get lost in a pile of junk and promotional emails, right? And so that one is really, really huge, because this is what was important to one of my clients. Is we called it lead slippage, right? It's where we get a ton of emails either during the day or after hours, and we're not really sure of like which emails could be a potential customer or potential lead, because that is actually going to equal lost money or lost revenue. Another couple of things is stressing out about replies, too much office work, just trying to balance it all with office work, and really just never feeling like you're actually off of work, right? So these are the biggest pain points that we are actually going to address. So now that we've addressed the pain points, let's actually go back over here and let's define what we think email overwhelm is, right? It says here, email overwhelm is that constant pressure of an overflowing inbox that pulls you away from actually running your business, where we feel like every notification could be an opportunity or a burden. We just kind of don't know, right? It's the stress of knowing that important client messages are buried somewhere in a digital pile, and while we're trying to provide quality service for our business and our job. And so the next thing here's what we've done so far is we've defined the problem, we've defined the pain point. The next thing that we're going to do is we need to define the solution, right? Or define the desired outcome. And that desired outcome is a comprehensive email management system that automatically sorts through incoming emails by priority. It filters out promotional spam and content. It creates maybe even some templates. It can schedule maybe like designated times to check for updates. Provide a visual dashboard of what needs immediate attention. This could be done with labels. Integrates with our current CRM softwares or booking scheduling to streamline the client communications. And if it can offer automated follow-ups and reminders, that's going to be awesome. So this is a defined desired outcome. This is also what I call a wish list, because not all the time, you can't all the time get everything that's on your wish list. So what our goal is going to be to define all of these and check off as many as we can. Okay. So what we're going to do, the next thing is, so let's go back. So number one, we've defined the problem and the pain points. Step number two is we clearly defined a desired outcome, right? So step number three is going to actually start planning, what does that workflow look like? And I even shouldn't say automation planning. I should say workflow planning, because again, this process is going to be used whether you're creating an SOP for your VA, whether you're using an automation, or even whether you're creating an AI bot to actually help you out with these things. It's still going to be called a workflow. So when you're creating a workflow, there's two words that you want to include in your vocabulary, okay? A trigger and an action, okay? Triggers and action. A trigger is just what it sounds like. It's what starts the automation, what starts the workflow. Think of it as a domino rally, right? When you have a domino rally, the trigger is going to be that first domino that starts the rest of the action, right? So what is the first domino in our domino rally, so to speak, right? And so in this instance, the trigger is going to be when a new email is received or when an email is replied to, like when an email thread is replied to. That's going to be the trigger. The next thing we need to do is decide, well, what type of actions or what steps do we want to go next, right? So we've got that first domino. So now what's going to be the second domino and the third domino, right? So what are the dominoes that we want to work in that workflow, okay? So we've got the trigger. So email's been received. The next thing that needs to happen is we need to define what type of email is it, right? Like what category does it fall under? So that's actually going to be a thought process, right? We have to be able to define that. Once we've defined it, we need to label it. And so these are some labels that I came up with off the top of my head. Customer support, new lead, finance or billing, promotion, spam, internal team, messaging, or anything urgent, okay? So email comes in, define the type of category that it goes in, and then label it. Now the label and the definition of the categories are actually going to be the same. We want to keep that consistent. The next thing we need to do is define the rules, right? So under each one of these, what is the next step? So if it's a new lead, so let me rewind this, okay? Because remember up here, one of our goals was to get that contact into a CRM or software, right? But we don't need every email to go into our CRM or software. This is why it's important to plan this out. Because if you would have said, oh, I have Go High Level, I'm just going to connect my Gmail to Go High Level. Wrong, right? What's going to happen is you're going to have a bunch of new contacts inside of Go High Level that doesn't need to be there. And so that's what we are trying to avoid, right? This is why mapping it out is super important. The only contacts that we want to go inside of our CRM is going to be a new lead and possibly customer support, okay? So if it's a new lead, so if we've defined it as a new lead and labeled it as a new lead, number one, we need to reply to them with something immediately. Or within 5 minutes, potentially immediately. Even if that's a reply that's just a confirmation that's saying, hey, we got your email. We're going to get back to you as soon as possible. For faster results, here's this resource. Or for faster results, if you need a quote request, please fill out this form for faster results, right? You got to get that out. The other thing that we need to do if it's a new lead is we want to go ahead and add that to our CRM. You need to define it. In this instance, is it going to be Go High Level or is it going to be House Call Pro, right? And then, so customer support, same thing. You really want to define each of these tasks and projects. You want to define it. So right here, the next part that we're going to do is we're going to actually map out kind of what would that flow look like. But before I do that, we actually did skip a step. We do need to brainstorm what softwares are going to be involved in this workflow. So in this instance, of course, it's going to be Gmail or Outlook if you have Outlook. But if for this example, we're going to be using Gmail. The CRM that we want to connect to is going to be Go High Level and potentially House Call Pro. And then we have to connect all of these things together. And so that's where you want to use like a low code automation tool. Most people are going to be probably looking at Zapier. It's very, very common, Zapier or Make.com. I personally prefer, and I'm learning and implementing a new system called N8N. It's a lot more powerful and a lot more streamlined and just more intuitive when it comes to creating automation. So I'm going to be focusing on using that. And so now we've kind of done our brain dump of the process and the web flow. So the next thing you need to do is actually map it out again before we actually hop into the automation. So let's go ahead and hop in and map it out. Okay, so this is actually the mapped out version of this. And so what I'm going to do is let's actually walk you through what the visual map looks like. Okay, so what we have here is first where the trigger is going to be that an email is received and from to Gmail. And then it's going to define the type of email. And actually, I can delete this because I was able to eliminate that step, guys, actually. All right, so we're going to do this. So after we define the type of email, let me actually move these a little bit closer. Boop. Okay. So now we need to define all the different types of emails. Okay, so we've got customer support. Hold on a second. My mouse is not. Bear with me here. There we go. Boom. All right, so we're going to go customer support. After it defines the type of email, it's going to go down the defined path, right? Now remember, these are, imagine this just like a domino rally. These are dominoes falling from left to right. Okay, so again, we'll start over here. We got email received. We're going to define the type of email. And then if it's a customer support, we're going to add a tag. And let's go ahead and put a reply there. Now, sometimes you want it to only draft a reply because we will be utilizing AI. So you can either draft a reply or you can automated reply. If it's a new lead, we're going to tag it as a new lead, add the label as a new lead, send it to Go High Level, and then to House Call Pro. If it's billing or finance, we can add a tag, and same thing, you can craft a draft, or you can send some kind of automated reply, or you could do nothing. Because some of these, like you honestly might not need it for this one because it might be like an invoice or something like that, right? For internal team, you can, like I said, create a draft or a reply. Promotions, we don't really need to reply, I don't think. And then spam, you don't really need anything there. So this is just a basis of what we can start to build off of. And now, actually, let me show you. We're going to take you to the automated system that I use, that I'm going to be using to connect this all. And this is called N8N. And you'll see that this looks very similar to this, right? So this is why I say it's really super important. If you have the ability to do it, go ahead and map this out first, because that way you're not trying to build this stuff out from scratch. And so let me actually go through the workflow again and actually show you how it works. So the email trigger, this is where we're going to plug in whatever email address that we want to manage it. Okay. And so if we go in here, it's going to check for a message received. Okay. And we're going to look for the label as unread. Then from there, this is actually automation called a text classifier. If we click down in it, this is where we have defined the different categories, and then we gave descriptions of the categories because this is utilizing AI, right? So we've given descriptions of each category. So like, for example, this billing or finance one, it says emails related to financial matters such as invoices, billing statements, payment reminders, or expense reports. Anything involving transactions, accounting fall under this label. Here's some keywords to look for, okay? And so we've done that for each of these, customer support, and then like even down here, we got new leads. So the description, emails that are sent from someone that might be considered a new lead, they were referred by someone requesting pricing, a quote, or something similar, right? And so we're teaching it. So each part of this process, now that we've got this down, is we need to actually teach the AI how to filter it. And so from there, we also are going to connect to ChatGPT, right? And so we're using ChatGPT to actually be the brain, to actually run through that content there and decide what actually is it. And then from here, we've got all of our different steps. Remember, so this portion right here is what these are right here. So here's one that's high priority: customer support, promotion, billing, finance, new lead. Okay. So for example, if it's a new lead, what we need to do here is, if it's a new lead, we're going to add the label inside of Gmail. We're going to craft up an email and we're going to auto reply, right? Because again, if it's a new lead, we want them to go, we want to get to them and reply to them as soon as possible. So we want to give them the next step or set the expectations for what the next step is going to be. So we'll send an auto reply, and this could be a templated email, or you could utilize ChatGPT to help actually write out that email for you. So we're going to auto reply, and then we're going to add it to Go High Level as a contact, and then we're going to add it to House Call Pro as a contact there as well. So this is the rough overview of how we're going to actually automate this from start to finish. So the next step is to just continue to plug these in. Now I need to actually plug in the email addresses and things like that so we can actually test it out. So that's it for this portion of the video. I'll see you in the next part. All right, so here comes the fun or most nerve-wracking part, is actually testing out. So we're going to actually go ahead and test out one of these. I've got my cell phone here, and I am going to send an email as a customer here. So I'm going to use my cell phone and I'm sending an email to the address that's connected here. Subject line, let's just put window cleaning. And then, hold on just a second. Hey there, exclamation point. You guys recently cleaned a few neighbors on my street, and I've heard good things about you, period. New line. Wondering if you guys can get me a quote for window cleaning for my house. New line. Here's my address. New line. 123 Main Street. New line, Dallas, Texas. New line. Thanks so much. Looking forward to hearing back from you. Okay. So now what we're going to do is, I've got this email typed out here. I'm going to send it to the email that's attached, and we're going to click test workflow. And what you're seeing is it's saying, oh, we received this new email here, right? You can see here that the tag has been added. And if you look at my email, let's refresh this page. You'll see that it automatically replied. It said, "Thanks so much for your interest for us and your interest in our services. We have received your request for window cleaning at 123 Main Street in Dallas. Our team will be in touch with you as soon as possible during business hours, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 p.m. For fastest response, please fill out the short form here. We look forward to assisting you. Client happiness team at Empowered Home Pros." Okay, so again, this is just to show you what's possible. But of course, we would plug in. This is where we would actually plug in like your quote request form from your website. So yeah, it works. And so then from there, the goal would be to pass it on to High Level, and then to pass it on to House Call Pro in this instance as a new contact. So that is it for this video, guys. I wanted to show you what's actually possible with AI. These things are what's possible. Can you imagine no longer having to sort through your emails, and where it's just automatically tagging, labeling, and then either crafting a draft email? So there might be a situation where, like in this instance, if it's a high priority email, maybe you don't want AI to respond to it, but you want it to draft a message, right? And so these are the things that are actually possible with AI. If this is something that you're interested in learning how to do yourself, feel free to comment below. We will be building out a community showing how to do these things yourself, or if you'd like us to set something like this up for you, again, feel free to reach out, comment in any of the links below. Please like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much. We'll see you in the next video.